15. Everyday habits that slowly increase cancer risk. What if the biggest threats to your health weren't dramatic or obvious, but quietly embedded in your daily routine? Not the things you fear, but the habits you repeat without thinking. Some of these behaviors feel harmless, even normal, yet over years they can alter your biology, weaken your defenses, and open the door to cancer. Today, we're exposing 15 everyday habits that slowly increase cancer risk. Not to scare you, but to empower you. Because awareness is often the first line of prevention. Consistently sleeping 6 hours or less does far more damage than most people realize. Your body relies on deep sleep to regulate circadian genes that control cell growth and repair. When sleep is cut short, natural killer, NK cells, your immune system's frontline cancer fighters, become less active. DNA repair processes also slow down, allowing mutations to accumulate. Over time, this biological disruption creates an environment where cancer cells can survive and multiply. Research repeatedly links chronic sleep debt to higher risks of breast, colorectal, and prostate cancers. To reduce this risk, prioritize sleep as a non-negotiable health investment. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of consistent, high-quality sleep each night. Go to bed and wake up at the same time daily, even on weekends. Limit screen exposure at least 1 hour before bed to protect melatonin release. Treat sleep not as rest you earn, but as protection your body depends on. 2. Prolonged sitting and physical inactivity. Sitting for long periods triggers harmful metabolic changes, even in people who exercise occasionally. Prolonged inactivity slows blood circulation, increases insulin resistance, and promotes chronic inflammation. These changes create favorable conditions for cancer development, particularly in hormone-sensitive tissues. Studies show that sitting itself is an independent risk factor, not fully offset by short workouts. Over time, this sedentary pattern raises the risk of colon, breast, endometrial, and pancreatic cancers. Prevention begins with breaking up long sitting periods. Stand, stretch, or walk for at least 2 minutes every 30-60 minutes. Incorporate movement into daily routines, walking calls, standing desks, or brief mobility breaks. Regular physical activity is important, but frequent movement throughout the day is equally critical. Think of motion as a continuous requirement, not a single daily event. 3. Eating ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods are engineered for convenience and flavor, but they place a heavy burden on your body. These foods increase systemic inflammation, disrupt gut bacteria, and spike insulin and IGF-1 signaling, pathways closely linked to cancer growth. They are often low in protective nutrients and high in additives that stress cellular systems. Over time, daily consumption alters metabolism and immune responses. Strong evidence links this pattern to higher rates of colorectal, breast, and pancreatic cancers. Reducing risk doesn't require perfection, just intention. Gradually replace ultra-processed items with whole or minimally processed foods. Focus on meals built around vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, and quality proteins. Read ingredient lists and avoid products with long, unrecognizable additives. Each whole food choice helps restore balance and resilience in your body. If this information is eye-opening so far, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring you more content that can truly protect your health. 4. Chronic low-grade inflammation, ignored. Chronic inflammation is one of the most well-established drivers of cancer. Unlike acute inflammation, which helps heal injuries, low-grade inflammation quietly damages tissues over years. It promotes DNA mutations, fuels abnormal cell growth, and helps tumors evade immune detection. Many people live with this inflammation without obvious symptoms. Nearly all solid tumors are linked to inflammatory processes. The key is addressing inflammation early. Maintain a diet rich in anti-inflammatory foods such as leafy greens, berries, fatty fish, and olive oil. Manage stress, sleep adequately, and stay physically active. Address underlying conditions like obesity or metabolic dysfunction. Reducing inflammation reduces one of cancer's most reliable allies. 5. Eating burnt or charred foods. When foods, especially meats, are cooked at very high temperatures, they produce carcinogens known as HCAs and PAHs. These compounds directly damage DNA and initiate mutations linked to cancer. Regular exposure accumulates over time, increasing biological stress on cells. Studies strongly associate this habit with colorectal, pancreatic, and prostate cancers. What feels like a harmless cooking preference can quietly increase long-term risk. You don't have to eliminate grilled foods, just change how you prepare them. Avoid charring and blackened surfaces and cook at lower temperatures when possible. Marinating meats can significantly reduce carcinogen formation. Balance grilled meals with plenty of plant-based foods. Small cooking adjustments can make a meaningful difference. Stay with me, because the next few habits are things almost everyone does without realizing the long-term impact. 6. Reheating food in plastic containers. Heating plastic causes chemicals like bisphenols and plasticizers to leach into food. These substances interfere with hormonal signaling and mimic estrogen in the body. Hormonal disruption plays a significant role in cancer development, particularly in hormone-sensitive tissues. Repeated exposure compounds over time. Strong evidence links this habit to increased risks of breast, prostate, and ovarian cancers. Prevention is straightforward. Transfer food to glass or ceramic containers before reheating. Avoid using plastic wrap in the microwave. Choose BPA-free products, but remember that alternatives may still carry risks. Reducing plastic heat exposure is one of the simplest protective steps you can take. 7. Chronic psychological stress. Long-term stress does more than affect mood. It alters your biology. Elevated cortisol and norepinephrine suppress immune surveillance and promote tumor growth pathways. Stress also increases inflammation and impairs DNA repair. While stress may not initiate cancer alone, it strongly influences progression and outcomes. The strongest links are seen in breast, ovarian, and colorectal cancers. Managing stress is not a luxury, it's prevention. Incorporate daily stress-regulating practices such as prayer, meditation, deep breathing, or walking. Set boundaries that protect mental health. Prioritize emotional recovery just as you would physical recovery. A calmer nervous system supports a stronger immune defense. 8. Eating late at night, circadian misalignment. Late-night eating disrupts your body's internal clock. It suppresses melatonin, a hormone with anti-cancer properties, and raises nighttime insulin levels. This metabolic confusion promotes fat storage, inflammation, and abnormal cell signaling. Over time, circadian misalignment increases cancer vulnerability. Strong evidence links this habit to breast and metabolic-related cancers. To lower risk, aim to finish meals at least 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Keep evening meals lighter and protein-focused. Align eating patterns with daylight hours whenever possible. Supporting your circadian rhythm strengthens your body's natural defenses. 9. Lack of morning sunlight, vitamin D deficiency. Morning sunlight plays a crucial role in regulating circadian rhythm and vitamin D synthesis. Low vitamin D levels are associated with higher cancer incidence and poorer outcomes. Vitamin D influences cell differentiation, immune regulation, and inflammation control. Deficiency weakens these protective mechanisms. Moderate evidence links this issue to colon, breast, and prostate cancers. Spend 10 to 30 minutes outdoors in the morning when possible. Allow sunlight to reach your eyes indirectly and skin safely. Consider vitamin D testing if deficiency is suspected. Restoring adequate levels supports immune and cellular health. 10. Constant exposure to indoor air pollutants. Indoor air often contains volatile organic compounds, VOCs, from furniture, cleaning products, and building materials. Fine particulates accumulate and damage lung tissue through oxidative stress. Chronic exposure inflames airways and weakens repair mechanisms. Over time, this increases cancer susceptibility. Moderate evidence links indoor pollutants to lung and upper airway cancers. Improve ventilation by opening windows daily. Use air purifiers with HEPA filters. Choose low VOC products when possible. Clean indoor air is a silent but powerful protective factor. 11. Daily use of scented personal care products. Synthetic fragrances contain phthalates and endocrine-disrupting chemicals. These compounds interfere with hormone regulation and mimic estrogen in the body. Hormonal imbalance increases cancer vulnerability, especially in breast and prostate tissues. The risk builds quietly over time. Moderate evidence supports this association. Switch to fragrance-free or naturally scented products. Reduce the number of products used daily. Read labels carefully and prioritize simplicity. Lower chemical load means lower long-term risk. 12. Chronic dehydration. Inadequate hydration concentrates toxins in the body and slows their elimination. This prolongs contact between carcinogens and sensitive tissues. Dehydration also impairs digestion and cellular repair. Over time, this increases cancer susceptibility. The strongest link is seen with bladder cancer, with additional associations to colorectal cancer. Make hydration a daily habit. Drink water consistently throughout the day, not just when thirsty. Adjust intake based on activity and climate. Proper hydration supports detoxification and cellular health. 13. Holding in urine frequently. Regularly delaying urination prolongs toxin exposure to the bladder lining. This repeated irritation may increase cellular damage over time. While evidence is emerging, the biological mechanism is plausible. Chronic exposure raises concern for bladder cancer risk. Listen to your body's signals. Urinate when needed and avoid prolonged holding. Simple behavioral awareness can reduce unnecessary risk. Prevention often starts with respecting basic physiological needs. 14. Mouth breathing, especially during sleep. Mouth breathing alters the oral microbiome and increases oxidative stress. It reduces nitric oxide production, which supports immune defense. Chronic imbalance may influence systemic inflammation. Emerging research links this habit to gastrointestinal and pancreatic cancer associations. Address nasal breathing issues early. Consider humidifiers, nasal hygiene, or professional evaluation if mouth breathing persists. Improving breathing mechanics supports overall health. Small corrections can have wide-ranging effects. 15. Cunnilingus, HPV transmission risk. Oral genital contact can transmit high-risk HPV strains. Persistent oral HPV infection is a well-established cause of oropharyngeal cancers, including cancers of the tongue base, tonsils, and throat. Risk increases with multiple partners and lack of HPV vaccination. Most infections clear naturally, but persistence is the danger. This is a viral-mediated cancer risk, not the act itself. Risk reduction includes HPV vaccination, regular health screenings, and informed sexual health practices. Awareness allows for prevention without fear. Understanding the mechanism empowers safer choices. Knowledge, not avoidance, is the protective tool. If this video helped you see everyday habits in a new light, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this with someone you care about, because prevention starts with awareness, and awareness saves lives.